started, I'd like to say a little bit. First, my name is John Driver. I am the National Chair of BAM. I've been the lawyer for Steve. Sorry, I've been the lawyer for Steve and many, many members that are here today and some that aren't here today in their fight against the takeover and against the terrible conditions in DPS now. We thought, in fact, we've known that we've had to deal with one dictator. And we've had to deal with that dictator, the emergency manager, for the last 15 years. And now we know that we have to deal with another dictator. And a dictator over the dictator. And the first dictator, the name of that person is Ivy Bailey. But Ivy Bailey would not be doing what she's doing if the president of the AFT, Randy Weingarten, hadn't signed on. This is a scandal.
Yes.
And it's a scandal that, like a gift that keeps on giving, this is the scandal that keeps on going. Today, we heard that they're trying to set up an election within the next 30 to 90 days.
Oh.
Yeah, and guess what? Steve Conn can't run. Because not only was he brought up on charges, he was expelled from the union specifically so that he would not be able to run for office. You know what? We've got to shut those elections down, and we can. This has never been about the charges, and now that is more evident than ever. If you look at the decision that was rendered by the, in quotes, jury, who were also witnesses, charging parties, judges, and prosecutors in this affair, you would see that the first thing that they're focused on is Steve's affiliation with BAM. Now, Steve ran on a caucus that had the name Eon BAM. He's been a part of BAM since the founding of BAM.
That's right.
And to decide that you're going to remove somebody from office because you, Randy Weingarten, don't agree with their politics, and you can pull them, snatch them out of office on completely bogus, made-up charges, that is, there you go. That is Queen Randy. And it says
Don't call her queen.
Randy is a Jew. She's a Jewish dog. That's who she is.
She is.
No queen. Don't give her that title.
Okay, and here's the thing of it. It says to every union member in the DFT, you don't have a vote. You don't have a voice. Because if you elect the person you want, and I, Randy Weingarten, queen of the AFT, disagree with that vote, I can remove that person from office. I can snatch him out. So members, you have no power. You have no say. And oh, by the way, my candidate, Edna Brewer, did not win before. And maybe I prefer now Ivy Bailey. So when the new election comes, you'll have one candidate to vote for.
Not me.
Ivy or Edna. Because that's who Randy Weingarten has decided that she's going to anoint president of the DFT.
No.
Since when do we live under a dictatorship?
This is a situation in which we have before us a great opportunity and a hard fight ahead. Because this is our moment to start really to continue the process of rebuilding the DFT from the ground up.
Yeah.
We're going to have Steve Conn as union,
That's right.
no
Vote
matter
for
what.
it. That's what we voted for.
If we succeed in raising enough hell in the next couple of months, starting with that September 10th union meeting,
That's right.
then we're going to make it impossible for the EM, for Snyder, for anyone to overlook Steve Conn. He'll be at that bargaining table because we can prove to our enemies that if Steve isn't there, you're not speaking for the DFT.
That's right.
That the members that he represents, the members who are going to fight to get him back in and to force Randy Weingarten and Ivy Bailey and all of the rest of the tyrants to back down, that win, that portion of the DFT is the core of it. It's the heart and soul of it. And it's that part which, if we strengthen our position, we can make sure it commands where the DFT goes, and Steve Conn remains president first, as the real president, the elected president.
That's right.
But also, if we do our job right, as the president that Randy Weingarten and everybody else have to find a way to put back in office. That's what our aim is. I want to say just a couple more things, and then I want to read a statement. I've known Steve for almost 40 years. I've known him from when he was a college student. So he is a longtime friend, and he's a longtime activist and a longtime fighter for equality and justice. And when Steve was elected, I know that there were people all over Detroit that celebrated that victory, because it wasn't just a victory within the DFT or for the DFT, it was a victory for the city of Detroit. It said, finally, there's a leader of a mass organization that is going to fight for the city of Detroit and the young people of this city and refuse to accept the new Jim Crow, the second-class treatment that has befallen this city for the last 15 or 20 years in formal ways, and long before that in ways that were not so obvious and declared. I don't think Ivy Bailey stops her attacks. She's the attack dog for Randy Weingarten. I don't think she stops with Steve. I think that we are probably facing, in the near future, a new round of trials. I think the election committee, starting with Patrick, is going to be put on trial. I think the executive board is going to try to remove the authority of the executive board, the election committee, from being able to decide whether there's a quorum at a meeting, whether the members who are at a meeting actually represent the real membership. I think that Ivy Bailey and Edna and all of them, they have to do this before there's another election, because under Patrick, this union had the first fair election. The election committee, we're going to trial in his case, and we're going to beat the hell. And the people that planned over the course of 6 months the attack that they began against Patrick as a setup to remove Steve.
It was a setup.
It was a setup. And they said as much in the trial. There was a break in the trial, and Steve Maroney, I believe that's his name. Mark, thank you. I want to.
Whatever you want.
He was talking to Ivy, and he was saying to Ivy in one of the breaks that Ivy was being too nice to us, too fair in her conduct of the McCarthyite witch hunting trial. And Ivy Bailey said back to him, "We've been planning this for the last 6 months. I'm not gonna blow it now."
Wow.
And that says everything about, yeah.
I received an email from Ivy Bailey today that said that Steve Conn can show up at his trial. She emailed it to me. I mean, so my whole thing is.
40.
What are these people, what are these people doing? They said he never showed up to have a meeting with us. He didn't come to the trial. I got the email, she sent me on my email. So now you sit up and say that he was there.
He was there.
Yes,
You know he was there. Okay, yeah.
They said the reconciliation, they tried to meet with them before trial for reconciliation.
Okay.
So was he there? That's what we want to know.
There was no point in having that reconciliation meeting
Why not?
because it wasn't going to achieve anything.
I was gonna say, can I address that, so from other members that are not, you know, in leadership capacity, there was an email, she did put on a statement that, she wanted to meet with Steve, but Steve, in that, not doing that informal meeting, he gave a rebuttal. There was a rebuttal, and on the website, it's an 11-page rebuttal to the couple of paragraphs that Ivy,
Let me ask you this.
yes.
She sent an email to me today
That
that
said-
said that Steve Conn did not come to his trial.
Well, that's a lie, because I testified in trial. That's not true.
She was in there.
And she also said in that email that he didn't present the
And
witnesses.
that's-
As I recall, he had witnesses there.
And that's right. That's why it's important that union members that are supporting, that are here, external from, the three, they are blatantly lying. They are, those Facebook pages, they are saying bam, all of, they are lying. They are lying. So, what is it coming on you as a DFT member, is to get the other people in your building to understand what they're saying. They're doing few little bits of this, saying this and that, and they are piecing it together to make it appear as if Steve is just this radical rebel that's doing something he shouldn't be doing.
That's how it sounded on the
They
news.
don't, but it won't say this. What this is a kangaroo trial.
That's
right.
But not only that, an executive vice president derives her power from the president.
That's right.
Yeah.
Meet with me.
Exactly.
Ironically, the exec board unanimously voted to hold the trial. Are you kidding me? They're the judge and the jury.
And
So, yeah.
why didn't they bring the charges? Because I said,
They never asked the
I said, I don't know what he's charged with. Can you please tell me, this is before the trial happened. I said, can you please tell me what he's charged with?
And
She
you
never
still don't know.
responded. She never responded. She said, all the membership got the charges. I said, well, I am a member. I never got them. Then after the meeting, then I received, after she takes him out, then I received this email saying that these are the charges against him. But I think that those charges that they were to be made should have been made in front of the membership that it voted him into office. And so that we can see whether it rose to that occasion, which I do not believe it is.
I don't think so either.
I think they're very subjective charges, and I think they can be twisted any kind of way. I don't know how much validity they hold, but I can tell you that she lies because she said the man wasn't at the trial and he was there.
Hold on to the email.
I got a copy of that email.
Hold on to it.
And it's on your
She said it to everybody. DMT, you should have.
Yeah. I mean, all of it is and has been a lie and a setup to achieve this end. It's been a real McCarthy witch hunt, and I can say this. To me, this was the closest thing in my lifetime as a lawyer to seeing a Jim Crow court in operation.
Yes,
Because it was exactly like that. And it was like the protection of white womanhood in Emma, who, came into that meeting dying to have a fight with somebody and stood at that election committee table and tried to make a video of people signing in, of their names, of their confidential information. That's why Patrick has to grab her phone. Because he's the chair of that committee and he has an obligation to the members of this union to protect people's confidentiality, to protect their privacy. And after you ask somebody 3 and 4 times, and the other election committee people have asked them 3 and 4 times, stop videoing, and they continue to do it, and that is compromising the information of the members. You gotta take that phone. That's not acceptable.
That's right.
So, to me, you know, okay, so the whole thing's trumped up. Here's what we've gotta do. We gotta begin fighting back right now.
That's right.
We've got a petition that we've gotta circulate to recall Ivy Bailey and the rest of the tyrants.
Sign it now, let's sign it now.
How many signatures?
We need 1,000 signatures and we can ask for a special meeting. Once we hand in those recall petitions, and whatever it is, whatever people haven't heard thus far, whatever answers you need to your questions, that'll be the moment to get them. Absolutely. The second thing is, I think we've got to be building now for the September 10th union meeting, and we've got to understand that there is no way that this executive board can allow that meeting to take place. They are planning, while we are planning here, our response to them, they are planning now how to stop that meeting from happening. Whether it's deny that people are members and not let people in, or have another
In fact,
incident.
while it's under appeal, is this expulsion in effect while it's under appeal?
Yes, it is under effect from this moment on. So,
Isn't that illegal?
we're gonna go to court too. We have to go to court and try to get an injunction around this. Because this is just, you know, suppression of First Amendment rights. This is, you can't speak with certain people, you can't associate with certain people. And if you do, we'll set up a kangaroo court and then we'll throw you out of office. No.
What do you plan to do as far as the elections? I mean, do you plan to boycott the elections, to write in Steve as a candidate, whether or not he's officially a member? What are you planning for the election?
I think if we go to that September 3rd executive board meeting and raise holy hell there, we can stop that election from taking place. And we can force the international to come in now, hold a trial, and reverse this decision. This is just a question of power. This is the power of the people who elected Steve versus the power of the tyrants. Look, if they thought they could win a fair election, they wouldn't have taken Steve out.
That's right.
If they thought they could win at any real special membership meeting or membership meeting, they wouldn't have done what they've done. Their stance is, we refuse to allow the members of this union to make any decisions.
That's right.
We won't recognize them. We'll snatch the president if that's the decision of the members, if they want change and we disagree, because we want to be making clear to the world that Arnie Duncan said when he first came into office that Detroit was ground zero, and he got away with destroying public education, and now Randy Weingarten's going to destroy the union that went along, that has been the force to oppose that. Yeah, that's the game. But I do think we can stop these things. I think it means being very public. The petitions. I want to read something to Steve that I'm going to ask this meeting to act on first and then turn things over to Steve to speak. But I think this sums up, I think what a lot of people in this room undoubtedly feel, and what a lot of people across the nation. We've already started getting emails from people all over denouncing this. People have already started writing Randy Weingarten saying, you need to resign now. This is unacceptable. we can vote on it, and then hand things over to Steve. So, this is dated today, and it starts by saying, Steve, at this moment of hysterical attack, all your supporters, inside and outside the Detroit Federation of Teachers, DFT, including the leaders and organizers of BAM, want to make clear our support for and solidarity with you. We want to be of any assistance needed to you and your family. You know that this attack against you is not fundamentally about you. It is, in the first place, an attack on everything progressive you have stood for. The defense of equality, justice, public education, and democracy in the labor movement and in American society at large. Even more immediately, this attack is a first phase of a McCarthyite witch hunt to purge from the DFT and other unions all opponents of the attacks on public education and all defenders of a labor movement committed to a real fight for the rights of labor. Randy Weingarten, Arnie Duncan's best publicist, has decided that she will not allow any opponent of Duncan's attacks on public education even to be a member of, in quotes, her union. Therefore, the next period of struggle will be for us, both the hardest and the best. The hardest because of the cruelty of the attacks we have faced and must reverse. The best because if we escalate our struggle, we have a real possibility of victory. We march into that future struggle arm in arm, united as leaders of a new movement with you and BAM. Now, we must truly spread this teacher struggle to the youth we teach and their families, to the communities we serve, and to the national labor and civil rights movements facing an avalanche of attacks. The only way to counter these attacks is to unite to defeat them. The people of our nation need our leadership. We look forward to standing with you in the next period of our fight with respect and gratitude for what we have already been able to accomplish in just a few months. We remain your friends and co-fighters. Is there a motion to adopt this?
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Already signed it.
Second.
All those in favor of us trying to get every person that we can, every organization, every student, everybody, like it says, in the city of Detroit, every church leader, everybody who's in favor of that, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, thank you. Okay, I want to present the current president of the DFT.
But I think it's very important. Point one, teachers, we can win. We can win as a union together in the coming weeks and months. You had that tip, you had a 10% pay cut. We've suffered those heinous freezing of the pay steps. We can beat all that in the coming weeks and months. But you must join me in rebuilding this union now. Now we must work together. We have a real opportunity here to change your working lives and the lives of the students you teach every day. but we must take action now. We must go forward. Our teachers in the classroom need daily preparation time. Our students need books every day. Above all, we need equality, equal and civil rights for the young people of Detroit. They need quality schools. They've so long been without, so deserve it. We must stop this heinous attack on public education. Together we can do that. Together we can win. But this brings me to my second point. The phrase, no man is an island. We must work together. I need your help in this struggle. I need it now. We must see ourselves as a collective network now, beginning now, in all the schools, organizers, in all neighborhoods too, organizers, people willing to stand up and do the concrete tests of day-to-day organizing between now and September to rebuild the union. This is really union organizing 101. Sign up now. Be a leader. Be an organizer in your school. An organizer, a leader, a drum major for justice. Now you need to do it. Sign up. This is the moment. This is our first organizing meeting, and we need you to work together. Because one person or one group cannot do it. We need the leaders, the new leaders of the DFT to help us in this. We need you to sign up for the task. We've got to organize, and we can win this in September. We are up against, in truth, a desperate, desperate remnant of an old regime that gave us 10 long years of suffering. 10 long years of 10 long years of doing nothing but jumping into the emergency manager's back pocket. We're done with that. We're done with that. But we've got to begin now the job of organizing to sew up the victory, to get them aside, to stop this last desperate attempt. Think about how desperate it is. Show trials. A show trial, by definition, is when you decide the verdict months or weeks ahead of time. We have evidence, as Shanta pointed out, that they decided this verdict literally when I walked in the door in January. They decided. This is the executive board made up completely of my political opponents. People who ran against me, who ran on a slate saying that I was going to obstruct the union. What they wanted to carry out was simply more another jumping into another emergency manager's pocket. I was going to obstruct that because I was going to rebuild the union. And it was my success in that. With the marches, the rallies, April 30th when we shut schools and went to land. Grievance after grievance around class size reduction, around getting preparation time for the teachers. When we went to Merck and filed lawsuits against harassment by principals against our hardworking teachers, they said, oh, this is successful. He's rebuilding the union. We got to get him out. That's what this fight is. And you need a union. You must have a union. You must be able to go into classrooms next year, this coming school year, and look your students in the eye, who are the real judges in court of opinion about what goes on in our union, truth be known, and say, I was there, I fought. I stood the ground for justice in Detroit. I joined that movement to get back our public schools, to fight off the emergency manager at Snyder, and fight for your education. I was a part of that. You need to join me so we can say to our students in the fall how proud we were of this struggle. That's the key. That's the key to the victory. I'm supremely confident of victory. But only as far as you join in and we build now on our success so far. We have everything to win in this fight. I've been able to get the door open, to bash it open, but you must come through me with that door, through that door, to seize the opportunity. That's the key. That's the key now. I urge you to join in tonight and sign up for concrete tasks to build this movement. See it as another episode in an ongoing struggle for equality and civil rights for Detroit and above all its young people. And join this movement now. join this movement by figuring out how we can organize your school to Labor Day, and above all to the September 10th membership meeting, where we can defeat this attack and right away go on the offensive in terms of fighting for the pay and the benefits and the reduced class size that you must have, that your students, teachers must have in order to function as education in the schools of Detroit. Thank you.
Questions, discussion, comments?
When is this due? What day is it?
Yeah, I think we should be, I think we've gotta be, trying every week to see how many we've gotten. And so if we can, we're gonna need to continue these meetings because we need to be organized, and we are the core of the union now. This is the union. Not the people who are sitting somewhere, God knows where, plotting against the teachers. This is the union. So we should keep a running track of it, and we should plan how and where to get it out more. I think we can put it online, and Yvette's got some things we've already gotten from other locals. We understand from a local in San Francisco that had a progressive slate win in their teacher election, that they're going to have their first show trial next week, putting their treasurer on trial for the same kind of made-up, bogus, ridiculous charges that Steve was placed under. You know, and so this is going to be a national fight. This is, it's time, okay, Steve is president of the DFT now. We need him to be president of the AFT.
So are we signing in today?
Yeah? Thank you.
Oh, we gonna sign that? We already signed that. I thought it was another sheet.
I think we could use that as our sign-in sheet for today.
There's another one going on.
There's a sign-in sheet in the back.
There's a notepad.
We can start to circulate a clipboard around.
And bring other people.
There's also, we undersigned, and we agree that you can sign that as well as the petition.
Yeah, I signed the paragraph. When I walked in, they shoved it in my face. I couldn't miss it.
So first I just want to